Man, you already know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. It is Saturday. I'm off work, clean shaved, and I took the advice of one of the viewers. Get in the comment section and let me know if you could tell me what's different about today's video. With all that being said, blowing up on YouTube, becoming successful after prison. Prison at one point was my curse. Never did I think it would become my gift. Never did I think that prison would play anything positive in my life. But I was wrong. I was very wrong. I could only see it for what it was. When you're going through things at times, all you see is the bad. You don't see the possibility for good. You don't see the future. You see that moment. And those moments were my life for a very long time. I remember the first time I spoke in front of a large group while in prison. And I was thinking about that today. I was thinking about how it felt, the feedback. And believe it or not, all that led me to doing YouTube. Facts. Today we're going to cover that. That first time speaking in front of a room full of people. Telling my story. Did they laugh? Did they ridicule me? Boo, you suck. Did they listen? How did that go? How did that change the course of the future? And little did I know at that time that I actually had a knack for talking to people. That people wanted to listen. That everything I've been through in life, it wasn't in vain. There were people that needed my message. And to this very day, I spread that message. I share that message. I tell my stories hoping that others will listen and not travel the road that I traveled. You don't have to go down that road. For some of y'all, it's not a choice. It's a way of life. It's something you're born into. But for most, it's a choice. I'm going to say this before we start the video. Watch the decisions you make, because they can play a major part in how your life turns out. 10 years in prison to being successful on YouTube. The money, the fame, the beginning. You know I done seen it. You know I done lived it. So let's relive it. So where did it all start? Towards the end of my bid, 2 years left. They came and they told me to pack it up one day. I'm being transferred. For some inmates, that's a good day. That's something they want to hear. It wasn't something I wanted to hear. I'd been at Greensville Correctional Center a very long time. I was what you considered dug in. I was a vet. I knew that institution, the officers, the ins and outs, how things worked, like the back of my hand. Now, it had its good parts. It had its bad parts. The good thing being, it was one of the last real penitentiaries in Virginia in the way it moved, the convict code, you know, the fact of doing things and being able to get away with it. You could do that there. Just any and everything you could think about was taking place at Greensville. People knew me. You got to think now. This is a place I've been at 8 years. People know me. They know what I'm about. Some of these guys had been there 20 years, but they knew me there. If you had been there for a certain amount of time, years, you knew who I was. You had ran across me. You would see me on the yard. You'd see me on the weight pile. Several different times, y'all would see me in handcuffs, you know, going to the hole, coming back from the hole. I had made a name for myself there. I wasn't looking forward to being shipped. When anytime you get shipped, you've got to start all over. All that work you put in, all the fights, all the standing up for yourself, the going to collect your money, you ain't going to just walk all over me. None of that means anything. You get to a new prison, you got to start all over. And I knew that. I said, man, they're going to transfer me. It ain't going to be long. And no sooner I get there, I'm going to get into it with somebody. You know, the craziest part about it was when I found out I was going to Greensville. Let's go back to the beginning. When I left the jail, I went to receiving. Then from receiving, you go to the prison you're going to be at based on the severity of your charge. And you go to this place called Powhatan. They got the bullpen. It's where all the different prison buses meet up. And say a prison bus comes from 8 hours away and they got an inmate on this bus that needs to go to that prison. Well, they're going to swap inmates throughout all these buses. And that bus is going to return back to that prison. They call my name Williams. I got my little bag lunch they had given me. I'm shackled up, orange jumpsuit, chain around my waist, leg irons, black box. You're going to Greensville. That means go stand over by the Greensville bus until they open the door, and then they'll help me get on it. I remember when they said I was going to Greensville, it was me and a couple other guys. Dudes were like, oh, man, that's gangland. Like, that's bad. You're going to a place where if you're not gang affiliated, it's not going to be a good day for you. I get there, and in the time I'm there, I see some of the most heinous things you could think of. I see men do things to other men that you can only think exist in movies. Like, you watch it take place, and you're like, this ain't life, man. This ain't real. I'm dreaming. Like, most of y'all have seen, like, videos on, like, different channels or Discovery Channel, stuff like that, of someone being attacked with a weapon. But until you've actually been there and you've felt, like, the reverb, you felt the impact of somebody holding a weapon, hitting somebody with it, and every time they hit them so hard that the palm of their fist hits their body. You can actually feel the echo, almost like it's hitting you. Those are things I became used to. I knew that in being there was a certain level of respect. You had to carry yourself a certain way, and if you didn't carry yourself a certain way, you knew what the consequences were. So my boss comes to me one day, and he tells me, hey, I got the news. I'm not believing. He told me, I'm going to miss you, man. You're a good dude. And you're going to go home, and you're going to be okay. At this point, I still had about 2 years left. You going to miss me? Where am I going? What, are they locking me up? What'd I do? I think I'm going to the hole. He's like, they're shipping you. Now, you got to remember, I've made friends here. I've got guys here that are doing life sentences that I've met and that I've gotten closer to. And I know that in the moment they ship me, I'll never see them again. So there's that whole having to say goodbye process, which, thinking back, that sucked so bad. So I made my rounds. I talked to everybody. And nobody was happy to see me leave. Everybody was in disbelief. Woody was in disbelief. Dudes didn't want to see me leave. Like, one of those things like, damn, we lost a good one today, man. Jay's getting transferred. And these guys have been seeing me day in and day out, year after year. They've been there every step of the way for everything that I've gone through. And now it's like, just like that. I'm being sent on a bus. Their life goes on. I'm not a part of it, and they're not a part of mine. I initially get to Indian Creek, and they get us all off the bus. And guys were checking in straight from the rip. They'd already been in this place before. They knew what it was about, and they was like, no, not even participating in the program. Y'all go ahead, put me in the hole, ship me to Supermax, take all my good time. I can't do this, right? They take me, shave, make sure I'm shaved. They take pictures of all my tattoos, strip me down, turn around, show us. They photograph my whole body. So I go into my housing unit. I get my bed. I meet some people. I know some people. I start to blend in. Right away, I realize I don't think I'm going to make it here. And when I say make it here, this is a therapeutic community camp where you're supposed to take accountability. So you have inmates telling on other inmates. I find out the dudes that are writing me up. I'm feeling like I'm being snitched on. Yo, who wrote me up? And I go to the one dude and he knows. I'm like, yo, who wrote me up? And he's like, I can't tell you that. Like, I'll get in trouble. But he had a folder laying there. It was a blue folder. And in that folder were all the write-ups. Well, at the bottom of the write-up, it's got the inmate's name that wrote you up. So he kind of hints to, like, there's the folder. I look over, I see the folder. He walks off. I go through the folder. I find my name. And it's a bunch of my names. My name's on like 10 different papers for everything from, I mean, just petty stuff to serious stuff. Y'all ain't just telling on the little stuff. You talking about tattooing and this and this. So I approach one of the guys out back of the building. He gets all defensive and tries to make some noise. There's a guard not far from us, and I light into him. Boom, boom. Like, you want to tell on me? I just come from a place that most of these men have never been. The average age there was 17 to 22. These guys just were not used to what I was used to. They take me to the hole. I do my time in the hole. I come back out. They put me in another building. It'd be like a cycle of events of me spazzing out. To the point that the counselor comes to me. She says she's going to put me in the warehouse. She takes me over to meet Mr. Chalmers. Mr. Chalmers runs VCE's, Virginia Correctional Enterprise, which is the company that builds stuff, make chemicals, drive forklifts, unload trucks, and this giant warehouse there. She says, I'm going to put you over there so you don't have to do this group stuff all day. But you're still going to have to do one group a week. I thought in her saying I had to do one group a week meant I just needed to come sit in the chair and just listen to whoever's up there talking. I didn't know that I would in due time have to speak. So once a week, they would call me back to the building, Williams turn the building for group, and everybody pulls their chairs up, and either the counselor gets up and speak, or an inmate gets up in front of everybody, and he talks. And he can pick the topic. He runs about a counselor. If she says it's cool, then he can speak on that subject. And these groups sometimes last from an hour to 2 hours. Now, keep in mind the age group I told you, 17 to 22. We've got guys there as young as 14, 15 years old that have been sentenced as adults and sent off to prison. Now, they've got certain amount of time to finish this program, and if they do finish the program, they can go home. So the chaos that ensued around me just from the immaturity, from the being around younger guys, was nonstop. The gangs were just recruiting all day, and you got a lot of teenagers, so they're very impressionable. They see it, they like it, and next thing you know, boom, they're knee-deep gangbanging, right? They call me back to the building one day. I have observed how these dudes react to these guys doing these groups. These guys get up there and talk, and these guys sit and joke the whole time. They laugh. They're clowning on him. They're not paying attention. And I remember thinking, damn, that's disrespectful. Like, dude is taking his time to get up there and talk to them, sharing his life story, talking. And these guys ain't even got the common decency to just be quiet and listen. I felt like when it was my turn, I was going to get the same disrespect. I'm in the building that day, and the counselor comes to me. She says, hey, you need to get up and talk. And I'm like, nah, talk? I'm not talking, man. I ain't signed up to talk to nobody. I'm not getting up there and talking. She's like, it's kind of part of the agreement. The main counselor said you agreed to one group a week. I said, yeah, I agreed to come over and listen. I didn't agree to come over here and talk. She was like, well, you're going to have to get up and talk. I said, all right. So I get to thinking about what I want to talk about. So I remember reading this article, right, on this little boy named Brandon. And he's walking with his dad, and the little boy falls down. Pull this up and read it. And the dad stops and is like, hey, man, get up. He thinks his little boy's like 7. He thinks he tripped. And he's like, get up. Come on, get up. And the kid's unresponsive. He's like, get up. He's unresponsive. And he reaches down to pick him up, and that's when he notices the hole in the back of his head. Later on, it would be determined that somebody was firing a gun in the air, 40 cal, and that bullet went up miles away, it traveled, and then it dropped. And here goes this man and his son walking, father and son, and the bullet hits the kid in the top of the head. That story it bothered me. So I got up there and I spoke about that. I said, look, I want to get up here and talk about something that most of us know about, and that's guns. Like, you're locked up. There's a good chance you've been around guns at some point in your life. I spent a lot of my life with a gun, around guns, busting guns. Like, guns have played a major part of my life. I said, but I never stopped to think that when I would shoot off, where does that bullet end up? On New Year's Eve, when we fall, do, let off in the air, where are the bullets going? They got to come down somewhere. So I remember I spoke on the Brandon's Law, right? And I spoke on my thoughts on it, and just all of that in general. The room was quiet. I didn't get the response that everybody else got. Guys didn't talk over me. They didn't laugh and joke. And I remember, because as I was talking, I was prepared to be disrespected, because that's what I viewed it as when I seen them talking over guys that were up there being, taking the time to talk. But as I was doing it, I was scanning the room, and you got to think now, I'm standing up in front of 30, 40 some people, and I'm talking, just me. And I'm going over, that, my history in the streets, who I am, more about me. And these guys don't know a lot about me at this point, except that I got a short fuse and that I've spazzed out a couple different times, and now I work in the warehouse. So after that group was over, that group lasted about an hour, hour and a half, guys come up to me. Hey, man, you should really talk some more. Now, this isn't just certain guys. This is white guys, black guys, Crips, Bloods, guys of every walk of life, Muslims, 5%ers. I got dudes walking up dapping me. Hey, you should talk more, man. Like, I could sit through those all day. You're a good talker. You're a good speaker. Very interesting. Something somebody said. I didn't know in that moment. I didn't know in that moment of getting up there that I had this gift to talk. I didn't. I came in the following week. They sent me back, and I didn't have to get up and speak, but they were asking guys to get up and speak, and nobody wanted to get up. So it was like, anybody want to speak? And I was like, I'll talk. So they were like, all right. And this isn't like you see with rehab where you're like, hi, my name's Jay, I'm an alcoholic. No, you get up there with a topic and you just pretty much go over the topic, ask people questions, debate, go back and forth. And I remember that group, and this group in particular, there was a lot of gang members watching, right? And I remember as I was talking, like, I could see these dudes, like, looking around the room at their friends. Like, the counselor would come to me because she would sit and watch me speak, right? This big woman. She would sit back with her legs propped up. And she would watch me speak. And she would look around the room. And she pulled me to the side. She said, have you ever thought about maybe going back into schools and talking? You know, talking to the youth. Maybe being an inner city youth counselor. I said, nah, not really. She was like, you should think about that. She's like, you have a voice. You have a different voice, a very unique voice. You have a very unique story. And people listen to you. She's like, when you talk, they shut up. She said, I've been doing this job a long time. And I'm not going to say you're the only person that's ever been able to really shut the room down and shut them up. But you're one of few. That sparked the thought. Right then and there. At that point, I didn't even know what YouTube was. I didn't know what an app was. I didn't know what a hashtag was. I didn't know none of this. At this point now, it's 2014. I'm a couple months from coming home. I would talk more and more and more. Then I got towards the end of my bid. I just became a recluse. I just withdrew to myself, started trying to figure things out in my head. 10 years has come to an end. They're about to release me. This is crazy. Trying to get my mind right to go back out in society. I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. I've done a lot. A lot has changed. A lot of people aren't there no more. Like, I'm trying to wrap my head around the fact that after 10 years, they're releasing me from prison. I come home. Prior to YouTube, I started my construction company. It took a while to get up and off the ground. It took a while. We struggled and we struggled hard. Living in the projects, barely getting by. So the construction takes off and I buy my first nice vehicle. I get us up out of the hood and into a nice house because now I'm actually providing for my family. And I remember one day I was sitting out in my garage and I was watching YouTube videos, right? And I remember that counselor telling me, you have such a unique story. You need to share your story. You need to speak. You need to talk. You need to be heard. And from there, I dropped the video. I sat thinking on what I should call my channel, right? And I remember like different people telling me like, I can't wait to just get out and live my life, man. My life, my life, my life. I just want to live my life. So I'm sharing my story with everybody. And all I really want to do is live my life. So then I figured it out. It's Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. That's what we're going to do around here. We live life, man. Let's live life. Let's let the past be the past. We talk on it. We'll laugh about it. But let's really live life. And I started dropping these videos. I never dropped a single video with the intent of going viral. I never said, man, I hope I get rich off this. Man, I hope I get a bag off this. I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. I never did that. I got on camera just like I am today. I dropped the videos. They were authentic. They were heartfelt. They were honest. Always honest. I'm big on honest. Don't lie. Because if you lie, somebody will expose you. You don't make it to 306,000 subs by being a liar. I made a video. I did not want to make the video. Let's make this clear. I was sitting in my shop, sitting beside my marquise, and I made 2 videos over a period of days. And one was where the man got violated in the prison shower. And then the other one was on the guy that took the child's life getting what he deserved. They were raw, uncut. And I retold the stories exactly the way I remembered them. 100%. There's no filler. There's no additives. There's no extra to spice the story up. I told it 100% exactly the way I remember it. This is around the same time that COVID hits. And I remember I was out west. I was in New Mexico. If you go look through my videos, you'll find it. I was out in New Mexico. I was in Long Beach, California. I was on the West Coast. And I was telling everybody, I was like, hey, thanks, man. We made it to 500 subscribers. I felt like I was on top of the world with 500 subscribers. I'm not making no money, but just the fact that I'm reaching 500 people felt crazy to me. So I come back from New Mexico, come back from Cali, and I dropped the 2 videos I just mentioned. I didn't think much about it when I dropped them. Did not. I went to sleep, and I've got a certain alert set on my phone to let me know when I would get a comment. Because in the beginning, I could respond to all the comments because I might get 3 comments a week. It's not hard to respond to 3 comments opposed to 300,000 comments. It's impossible. I was laying in bed, and I'm dead asleep, and my phone made that little alert that it makes when I get a comment. Then it made another alert. Then it made another alert. Then the alert started coming in so fast that the phone, I really thought it had glitched. Because there's no way that many alerts come. You know, like if you turn your phone off like a day and then you turn it on, all your messages start coming through. Ting, 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 ting. My phone started doing that, but it didn't stop. It wasn't like it was a 3 or 4 second phase where it did that. It was like doing that non-stop, and I thought the phone was broke. So I powered it off. And I'm like, what the? Now I powered it back on, and it continued to do it. So I went into the YouTube app, and there were thousands of messages. And I just sat looking. I didn't realize at that point I'm half asleep what is taking place. I'm just looking. I'm like, trying to wipe the cold out of my eye. I'm looking. I'm like, and I'm looking at the views on this video, and I could refresh the page. Boom. And the views would change by 1,000. I looked over my sub count, and it was like watching a clock going fast forward. I refresh it, thousands, thousands, thousands. And I remember I sat back and I was like, I don't know what's going on right now, but it seems like I went from not even having 1,000 subs to 10,000, 15,000. This is crazy. So I didn't let it get to my head. I went and just dropped my regular content, continued to do what I do. Then I got the congratulations, you're monetized. And after those videos, my videos prior to that really weren't getting no traction. But those 2 videos right there introduced me to the world. The world found me. And from there, I could drop a video, and within an hour, that video would do 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views. This is a fact at this point in time. I continue to post. I continue to post. I'm watching the sub count grow. I'm watching the views grow. Now, at this point, I don't know anything about the money like that. I don't know that with a certain amount of views and ads, just all this different stuff, there's money involved. So I get hit up by this thing called Google AdSense. You need to make a Google AdSense account. So I said, all right, now I'm YouTube monetized, whatever. Let me make my Google AdSense. I make my Google AdSense. And this is what a lot of people want to talk about. And I don't make the money that I used to make, but I'll get into it, right? They were supposed to send me this 4-digit number. This is a verification number that I am who I say I am. That is my address. This is where my taxes will come to. It's to prove that I'm that person. For several months, I'm watching this money accumulate in this Google account that's tied to my bank account, but I don't have this 4-digit PIN. And until I get this 4-digit PIN, the money's just a number just sitting somewhere. I can't do anything with it. And I kept putting in for the PIN. We've already sent it. You can't get a human on the line. So I put in for again. We've already sent it. So I remember I looked at my statement, and it was just an astronomical amount of money. And I showed my wife, and my wife is like, yeah, right. Some people ain't about to give you that much money. Like, she's looking at it like it's like one of them poker games. Like, impossible. They're not going to give you that much money, Jay. That's crazy. Why would they give you that much money? For what? And I'm like, for these views. I guess for YouTube. I don't know, man, but this is what they saying they're going to give me. She's like, yeah, all right. Sure they're going to give you all that money. That's almost 6 figures, Jada. You're crazy. She calls me one day at work, and she says, hey, just a little piece of paper came in. You was talking about from Google. I said, open it. Give me the 4-digit PIN. Give me the PIN. She gives me the PIN. Mind you, we're okay. My family's okay. I own, operate, and work every single day. I have a whole entire construction company. We clear 6 figures every single year just off construction. No problem. We've been eating. Prior to YouTube, we had the Mercedes, the BMW. We had different exotic cars. We had nice houses, nice clothes, shopping, bank accounts. We had all that prior to YouTube. So I don't want anybody to ever look at me and say, well, without YouTube, no. I've been doing this. She sends me that PIN. I type that PIN in. I check my bank account. It's nothing. I don't know how Google works at this point, right? The following day, I wake up. I go in the kitchen, 6-something in the morning, I'm getting ready to go to work. And something tells me to check my bank account. Now, I was under the impression it would only hit during bank hours. This is because it's like a transfer, like a wire transfer. I'd sat up on the edge of the bed, and I'm trying to get my wits about myself. So I'm sitting on the bed, right? I reach over and I grab my shirt, throw my shirt on, rub my face, unplug my phone off the nightstand, check the time, see what's going on in the world today. Well, I have an alert from my bank. Like, I'm looking at the news, YouTube, just, you know, just doing what I do. I have an alert from my bank. Check your recent transactions. Open my bank account, and there was an $80-some thousand deposit. into my bank. One of the things where I was like, I rubbed my eyes, like really, really rubbed my eyes and looked at it again. Like, now I already have money in the bank, so this is my money on top of this money, but I'm just looking at the deposit. This is 80 plus bands. I'm lost. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm like holding the phone and I start shaking. I'm like, grab my wife, hey, wake up, wake up. She's like, what? I'm like, get up, get up. She's like, what? She thinks something's wrong. What's wrong? What's wrong? I'm like, I did it. She's like, you did what? I'm like, I did it. And I didn't know what I had done because I didn't set out to do anything but be real with the world, be myself, give it to y'all raw and uncut, just be Jay Williams, be all I know how to be, which is me. I put it all on the line. I laughed, I cried, I talked about things I didn't want to talk about, things that made me uncomfortable, but it helped others. And it paid off. I was never looking for a payday, and it paid off. I was never looking to be famous, and it paid off. I never thought I'd see $1 off YouTube, and here I am. I showed her. She's like, what am I looking at? And I'm like, look. And she looks, and she sits straight up in the bed. And she looks at me, and I'll never forget. She goes, what did you do? Like with tears in her eyes. I said, I did it. And she just started crying. Because she, in the beginning, she doubted me. She thought that what I was doing was wasting time. She's like, this is time you could be spending with the kids or with me. You're out there making them dumb videos. You're wasting time. And she looked, and she was like, just covered her mouth. And she was like, oh, my God. Jay, you did it. And I just remember the feeling. I sat there, and I was like, I did. We're good. We've been good. We've been good since the day I got out. I've been taking care of us. I ain't never missed the rent. I ain't never missed the utility bill. I've always made sure we're good. But now we're really good. Like, we're really, really, really good. I went, right after that day, I had several family members and friends that were doing bad. And they weren't doing bad because of drugs or anything. They were doing bad because they just couldn't get ahead in life. Like my stepdaughter at the time was a single mother, you know what I mean? Didn't have a car. Then I had other family members that didn't have reliable vehicles. I took a large portion of that money and I went and bought vehicles for the ones around me. Here, that's yours. Make sure you get back and forth to work. Now you ain't got to worry about the car breaking down. Here, that's yours. There's no more excuse on why you can't get a job because you don't have transportation. I think I bought 6 cars total in the next few months, right? Everybody's asking me, what's next? What's next? What's next? I'm like, what's next? What's next is I just continue doing what I'm doing. Do what I've always done. Stay true to what I know. Do what I do. Continue to post. And I continue to grow. It got real. Like, the money makes it very, very real because then every month after that, on the 21st, I'm going to get a check. There were some months them checks would be $60,000, or some months they would be $40,000, some months they would be $30,000. But every single month since then, since I want to say it was the beginning of 2021, every single month since then, I've not received a single check that was less than 5 digits. This was me pursuing my dreams. My dreams not being to be rich. My dreams not being to be YouTube famous. My dream was just to spread my message, to just be heard, to help someone else, to stop someone from becoming me. I didn't listen. I had all these great people placed in my life throughout history that I could have listened, that tried to stop me, that I just didn't listen to. And I said, you know what? Maybe people will listen to me. Maybe they'll listen to me. And I started pushing my message, pushing my videos. And I started getting feedback on people saying, hey, you saved me. You helped me. Because of you, I got sober. You told me to stop. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting tomorrow. Stop. And I did. And for me, that was the win. That's when I known I had won. When I had finally changed. Not just who I was, but in my change, it gave me the ability to change others. And that's how it all happened. It all started with me getting up one day and doing a group in prison and talking to everybody and watching the way they reacted to me and watching the way that people kind of calmed down and listened to me pushing record on this camera and doing exactly what I'm doing right now, talking to you guys with thousands upon thousands listening. Y'all that know me, y'all know I'm not a hateful person. I'm not an angry person. I can come across as very serious, very stern at times. But when it's time to laugh, I laugh. When it's time to cry, I cry. When it's time to joke, I joke. And when it's time for anything other than that, then I handle it. 3 years now I've been on YouTube and I've learned a lot. I've said things that I regret saying. I've said things I wish I would have said differently. You know, I've always tried to say things that I stand on and that I mean and that I can say, you know what, I stand on that. I said that. But looking back on it, I have said some things in the past that I don't agree with. I'm human. I'm only human. So I say all that to say this, right? Sometimes we don't know what we're meant for. We don't know what the future holds. But if you're doing what's right, and you feel you're doing what's right, a lot of times it'll pay off. As I've said multiple times during this video, it was never about money. To this day, not much has changed with my channel, my second channel. I stuck to the script. I do what I enjoy. I tell my stories. I relive it. You know, we build, we laugh, we joke together. With the podcast, I'm a little more serious. I get into the things on the podcast that really bother me. Dropped the episode last night. If you haven't caught that, go catch it. That's more of my opinion. That's more of different sides of me that y'all aren't used to seeing. Because that's not the art of storytelling. These are my thoughts, my views, my opinions. Don't ever limit yourself. With me, I wouldn't take no for an answer. Wouldn't accept it. From day one, when there was 5 people watching me, that was good for me. I said it, if I can change one person, then all of this wasn't for nothing. This isn't all in vain. And I kept pushing. It wouldn't be my second video, my third video. Going viral didn't create me. Because even after you have that moment, you have to keep the crowd's attention. It's like a comedy show. You can make them laugh at one joke. Okay, you made them laugh. Can you make them laugh again and again and again and again and again? And after everybody found me through those 2 videos I put out, they returned again and again and again and again. What happens when you get out there? What happens when the world really is watching you? Are you a one-hit wonder? Do you have the ability to keep coming back, keep them coming back, and keep them coming back, and keep them coming back? Do you truly have the ability to entertain? Can you handle what comes with it? Ain't all glitter and unicorn farts and butterfly kisses, trust me. There's been times I've had people notice me in public, and I don't know if they're friend or foe. I just know they're staring at me, and then they'll be like, oh, you're Jay Williams. That was something I had to get used to. Prior to YouTube, it was always either an op or the police. Hey, you Jay Williams? Yeah, I'm Jay. Put your hands behind your back. Hey, you Jay Williams? Wow, what's up? Pow, pow. Like, been noticed in the past, and it was for all the wrong reasons. Now I get noticed for all the right reasons. My life, it's a normal life. Except for the whole YouTube thing, I still live a normal life. I still get up every day. I still lace my shoes up, throw my work pants on, throw my shirt on, throw my hoodie, grab my hat for the day, and out the door I go. I haven't let that go yet. I look to let it go here soon. But 3 years in, I still haven't stopped working. Look at any other YouTuber. None of them work. They get that YouTube ad, they're like, boy, I ain't never going back to work again. That's not me. I haven't quit. Maybe it's the fear of failure. Maybe it's the fear of the unknown. Maybe it's the security in knowing that with these hands, I'll always be able to provide my family. YouTube's a funny place. They can love you today and they'll hate you tomorrow. The same thing that made everybody love you can be the same thing that makes everybody hate you. You can have the world standing behind you one moment, and then the next moment you be all alone. Trust me, I've seen it time and time again. But that's the story on how I went from prisoner to YouTuber. It's a crazy story, but it's my story. And it's the truth. But anyways, these streets, these jails, these penitentiaries, these YouTube channels, they're all just crazy worlds inside of a already crazy world we live in. And as always, y'all know what I'm doing. Just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And like always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. And to all my real ones. And there are some real ones watching. Because y'all still watching me. And y'all know how we do. Salute. Thank you guys. And I mean that. Thank you.